For me, I think it was a gradual thing. It happened very early on and I can't really remember. I just I can't think of a time in my life when that wasn't the case. My earliest memories of knowing that I wanted to do it weren't the turning point. They were just, I was already solidly in that mindset. This is an interesting phenomenon to me is how to incorporate technology with pre-existing arts or modes of expression. And I never actually sought to do anything with that. It just sort of ended up happening, which is, for me, the best of both worlds, because some of the things that I've done have been very successful. And I think the best example of that is the Popper Project. Several years ago, more than several years ago now, I had left the Seattle Symphony, and up to that point, with having been studying the cello with teachers and then being in school and then going to the symphony where we had concerts every week, I'd had a very structured sort of practice schedule where there was a weekly goal. And leaving the symphony and going to a time where I would have, 4 or 5 concerts in a row of different repertoire, and then I'd have anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months to get ready for the next set of 4 or 5 concerts in a row of, again, different repertoire. I lost my way. And so I didn't want to lose my way with my practice schedule. So I decided I would create a weekly goal, which was very selfish in a way, self-serving, that I wanted to force myself to have a practice regimen that was weekly instead of sort of just dependent upon the next thing that happened. So I decided if I posted a Popper etude every week online, that would be some motivation to do it well and to practice well. And that's really why I started doing it. I thought maybe 50 people would watch it. And I think right now it's over the channel of 40 Popper etudes, which are these etudes that every cellist has to learn. The channel of these 40 etudes has over 475,000 views. I'm struggling to remember the genesis of the idea for Cello and Chocolate. I'm definitely a fan of their chocolate. I found it years ago with the bacon chocolate collection. A friend of mine introduced me to that, and I fell in love immediately. And I think it's so interesting the way that they pair very smartly things that you wouldn't necessarily think go together and create these unique experiences. And so I buy a lot of Vosges chocolate. I have trouble making it through O'Hare without stopping at one of their stands. It's a problem. And I was sending a lot of chocolate to other people, so I got to know some people in the concierge services. And Andrew and I went to have a truffle tasting, and we just sort of ended up talking about this idea of doing this. And I've always been interested in, this is another kind of collaboration of food and music. And what's unique about the Vosges experience, I think, besides the way that they pair the flavors, is how they present the chocolate as an experience. So I think on each of the bars and maybe on the truffle boxes, they talk about smelling the chocolate, making some time for yourself, warming it up with your finger so that you really get the aromas going, and how to, take a couple breaths and keep yourself in the moment. And this experience, as we were doing a truffle tasting with someone from Vosges, sparked this idea that, that's not that dissimilar to how to listen to music. In fact, a lot of times we sort of let it float by and just inspire what it inspires, and that's definitely one way to do it. But another way is to really stay with what you're hearing, stay in the present moment, so that you notice things that you wouldn't otherwise pick up on, and you follow the narrative maybe that much more closely. When I left the Seattle Symphony, I moved to New York. It was in 2008. And since then, that's been my home base. I'm here right now in a friend's apartment, actually, which is very nice. And I used to live in Washington Heights, which is up in the northern part of Manhattan. It's uptown. And I'm in the process of moving downtown. And I used to, spend a lot of time going to concerts and going out, and I still do a fair amount of that. But lately, one of my favorite things to do here has been just to walk out the door and turn whichever way the wind takes me.